Hey everyone, thanks for joining the Unknown Games podcast. This week, the struggle is real, everyone. You can hear it in my voice. It's very real, and this is the long cast. Everybody, we're going into some deep issues about living in Japan, and we hope that you really enjoy it. These are some questions that we had from our listeners. So we hope that you enjoy this long form podcast. Now, if you need a break, take a break in the middle. Like I said, it's about an hour and 20 minutes. So you take that break. Take the break. All right. Thanks as always for all of your support. We can't do this without you, and we all love you so much. Also, shout outs to one of friends of the show for an awesome VR game called Monster Reapers VR. Go check it out on Steam. It's available for $10. Definitely, got to spread that love wherever you can, however you can, while you can. So everyone, thank you so much. Remember, you can follow us on Twitter and on Instagram at UGP_cast. We hope you enjoyed the show this week, everyone. And remember, it's still a great day to play games. Hey everybody, what's up, and welcome to episode number 24 of the Unknown Games podcast. We are a show that we talk about Japanese games, and also our life in Japan, and sometimes McDonald's or Japanese fast food. And by we, as always, myself, Adrian, and my best friend in the world, Alex.
Hey, what's up, Alex?
I just got to give you the props, man. You always hold it down. Number one spot every week.
What are you saying?
I was just saying you're always here. Anyway, okay, we're gonna skip past that. Anything that could be inconfirmed or confirmed. I actually have no clue what I'm talking about, guys. Thanks for joining the show.
Are you having a mental breakdown right now?
The show is like constantly making me go, "What's happening in my life? What's happening?" But no, everyone, thanks for joining the show, and we're always glad to have you. Number one, because you are all so great. You're listening week in and week out. I mean, I can't even listen to my parents half the time. That has nothing to do with anything, but I'm just saying, you're dedicated. We love your dedication, and we love that you share the show to other people that you love too. So it's like love going around. This is going to be a strange show today.
It sounds like you had a lot of coffee today.
I had no coffee today. Alex, how's your day been going though?
It's pretty good. It's a Monday, so, coming off the weekend, everyone's kind of like, what's the word? Darui. How do you say that in English? Just kind of slow, I guess.
Yeah, just kind of like slow and lethargic. Oh, wait, cathartic? Is that the word? Lethargic?
You're thinking of lethargic.
There we go. See, this is going to be one heck of a show, everyone. I don't even know. I'm not sure what's happening.
Okay.
It might have to do with the fact that you told me a certain thing is coming out today, but I can't say it now because, I mean, by the time that people listen to this, they already know. But I'm in the moment. I'm super excited. What do I need to talk about? We have to talk about games that we've been playing. We've also got some listener questions, some like super deep questions, actually. I was like, whoa, I posted this thing and people were like, yo, here's a serious question. And I'm like, oh, yeah, today's a great day, everyone. And then we got some news at the end. That sounded even better than I could even sound. That was amazing. I love those sound effects.
I play that a lot, so I've been using that. When I play Apex, I've just been spamming them when we win.
I had a game actually right before this podcast where I used the L star and I finally understood the beauty of the L star.
Yeah,
for 3 games, I understood the beauty of the L star.
If you don't miss, the key is don't miss. If you don't miss, it's like really good.
Don't miss. That thing downs people in 2. It's like, yo, Havoc?
It's pretty good.
Nah,
yeah.
It's good. So we're going to move into the games we play. Everyone, remember, this is actually going to be probably a little bit longer, the show. Who knows? But just stay with us as always. And we're going to hop on into it with the games we play. I was expecting a sound effect. See, Alex has me like set up, waiting like,
oh, I'm sorry. I thought you were, okay, well, let's do it then.
Okay. Engage. Yeah, see, we're going to engage. So I've been playing... I've been getting my butt kicked in Nioh 2. the last chance demo that they put out for over the weekend.
Yeah. That's
Oh god,
Japan only, right? Obviously, or was that also in
no,
other
it
territories?
was other territories as well. I actually downloaded it from
Okay.
the North American PSN, but
Oh, okay.
I gotta say, like, I really enjoyed it. I have not played Nioh 1. The only Souls-like games I've ever played would be Sekiro and
Bloodborne,
Bloodborne.
right? You didn't
And
play Dark Souls or anything?
I know I've never played Dark Souls. I've played the start of Demon's Souls, which I really want to go back and play. I still have it on my PS3, so I mean, this demo was great. I enjoyed it. I honestly, the thing about Nioh that put me off the first time I played the alpha for Nioh 1 was just that, unlike Bloodborne or the kind of Souls games, the controls are, there's, like a Team Ninja game, they like to put a little bit more stuff in it. Like, it's, to me, it looks more complex on the surface than it actually is with the different stances. And you also have key pulsing. And then, there's just a lot of little minute mechanics that are also in there on top of what is already a hard game to play. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I went in this time. Literally every enemy probably took me about 20 minutes or 15 minutes to kill, and then I would progress. And it was like every time I was learning to play the game, getting better and better. And like the training I had from Bloodborne really paid off. I mean, I was able to understand, like, it's okay for me to wait. It's okay for me to attack like crazy, then back out. I understand this so much better. And finally, I got to the last boss, and I died. I died. I died. I died. I died. I died. I died.
Did you
I
have
died.
fun with it though? Like, do you like dying?
And that was the crazy thing. I can honestly say I died to that boss 100 times. I never thought it was unfair to me. I was doing, counters, and I enjoyed it. Every time I went in, it was fun. I tried it with the, I think it's benevolent graves. So you could summon people, kind of other people's players' ghost, to kind
Mm-hmm.
of help you in the quest. And that was fun. Even when I had them, I would get kind of a little bit too cocky. I got the boss down to pretty much the last little bit, and I started investing in my magic skills and just this. It's good. And what's crazy is I want to buy Nioh 2, but if I can't get past the demo boss, should I buy Nioh 2?
Well,
That's
I
my
think it's the same
question.
thing as Bloodborne. Like, you'll probably suck at it for a bit, and once you get that click, once it falls into place, you'll probably just start to really enjoy it.
Yeah. I mean, I was using I think it's called the Switch Glaive, which is kind of like a scythe and kind of, yeah, I mean, it's pretty much a scythe that folds up. But I was using that. I was using a pretty much a longsword for the most part. If you've done the longsword in Monster Hunter, same type of weapon. So I was honestly, I was having a lot of fun with the stances and switching and key pulsing, and when it would click in my head, I'm like, oh, my old man reflexes are catching up to the game finally. It was a lot of fun, and that's
Mm.
the best. I don't think I can say any more other than, definitely give it a try if you're into the kind of Souls or, Souls like games. Definitely give it a try, and you don't need any knowledge of the first game at
Is it
all.
not connected at all?
It's not connected that I know of. I mean, this is completely going into, they're both in the feudal period, but this is uh you're more set in trying to take down Nobunaga, if I remember, especially in this first part. So it's more in that area. I don't know where the first game is set, like if you're trying to take down Nobunaga or not, and if it's a continuation. But the yokai shift stuff that's in there too, so you can. It's a kind of a last resort if you feel like you're gonna die. Just get all your health
You
back and
you
go
can
insane.
Okay. So how does the
Yeah.
yokai system work? Is it different yokais give you different abilities? I actually don't know how this works at all.
So you have like a overall yokai guardian. So there's three different guardians. There's kind of like this wolf spirit, there's a bird spirit, and there's like a water spirit. And each of one of them have a little bit different abilities, but you don't really have to worry about that so much. The yokai abilities that you actually get are from the enemies that you face that are yokai. Once you defeat them, they have a chance to drop their soul core, and you can take that back to the shrine to be purified. Once you, or I guess attained or attuned, there we go, attuned. And that means that you'll be able to use that yokai's ability. You have a gauge, and I was using this one where, like, I don't know, it's kind of big monkey guy. He kind of pops out and throws a spear at somebody. and it takes up like it'll take up half your gauge. But there's like little small ones, like little minions that won't take up that much of your gauge at all to use. So you can really equip up to 2 to your spirit, your guardian. There may be more. I'm not sure, but in terms of the demo, you can only equip up to 2 per spirit. And yeah, it's pretty simple, but it's fun to use. Now they do damage to the enemy or like a boss. They'll do it to a different gauge. So like we talk about Final Fantasy 13 and just like in other RPGs where you're trying to like limit break the boss kind of thing. So the yokais, when you deal damage and from them, it'll deal damage to, I don't remember the name of the gauge, but it's basically like their yokai gauge, right? If you're dealing physical damage, it'll deal damage to the physical gauge. So you can actually balance both of those and try to break the boss both ways, right? Because
that's interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. So once you break them, you're going to get a lot of damage. But after that break, both gauges reset. So just be wary. But you can try to play it in 2 different ways. You can try to go for physical attacks. You can go for yokai attacks as a kind of mix in there. So I don't know. I was enjoying it. I feel like I'm gonna buy it. No. Wait, I'm gonna play Nioh 1 first. There we go. We'll play Nioh 1 first.
Yeah, so you have Nioh 1 because it was a free-to-play plus game, and Nioh 2 comes out on the 12th?
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
So, it's good. I gotta say. I mean, have you played any of Nioh 1?
So yeah, it was a free plus game, and I played, I would say 2 hours of it, and I kind of got through, I think, most of the first area, and I enjoyed it, but this is like before that I had really played any Souls-like games. I played Bloodborne a little bit, but again, I couldn't get into it very much. And then this is before I got into Code Vein.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
So I was kind of like, this is my first experience with a Soulsborne game. I'm like, oh, it's fine. Combat's good. I'm dying a bit, but that's okay. I don't mind it too much. But I didn't really get hooked on it. And then I just kind of like didn't play it again. Right.
And I mean, like, I think what's really good about this kind of, the Souls-like series or the Souls games is that you really have to, in my opinion, you have to find a starting point. And for me, my starting point was actually Sekiro. Like, it's not as difficult. The AI isn't smart at all. They're just there. Okay. And it made Bloodborne make sense to me, which then made how to kind of approach this game. I would say it's like in the middle. You can kind of do attacks. You can actually do combo strings, but you still need to GTFO when it's time to GTFO. Whereas opposed to like Souls games where it's just straight up like you're always out of range until you decide to max out stats or something like that. But you kind of just want to, turtle more so. But yeah, I got to say, I've had fun with it. And I'm probably going to buy the game eventually. Like I said, going to play the first one. And then I've been streaming Transistor. So I've just been playing games with swords in them for like weeks.
Oh, yeah. Are you almost done Transistor or what?
I'm almost done. I'm pretty sure I'm at least, what is it, like maybe 3/4 of the way through. So not that much left. I could even be on the last boss fight for all I know. But I've been enjoying that too. It's been good.
Yeah, that's good. I don't think those games are too long. So you should be done it probably within the week, I think.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I feel like I only have like maybe 3 hours left or less. But like I said, the reason I've been enjoying it so much is just the way that you can mix and match all of the different function skills. And this game is, I mean, it's based so much on computer terminology, like programming. So you have memory, you have functions, you have like your functions, which are your moves. They're all named after coding terms. And I don't know. I tried coding back in the day. I'm not good at it, but I tried it. And I don't know. It's just like nice to kind of know what the game is talking about when it's referencing things. And you're like, oh, I feel smart. I didn't say anything about what the game is, but if you haven't played Transistor, you can probably go buy it for cheap and play it. It's a great game.
Yeah, it's been out for a while. But I actually haven't played it either. So that's cool.
Yeah, it's on PlayStation. I mean, it's on pretty much everything, Switch as well. So definitely go.
Yeah, it's on a lot of that's Supergiant Games, right?
Yep, Supergiant Games. Same people who do Bastion. I guess the latest thing they've done is Hades. And then
Hades isn't out yet though. That's what is that, early access or something?
Yeah, it's still on early access, and it's now out on Steam. I think as of last month, sometime early February.
But
Early access
as
was on,
early access, right?
yeah, as early access. It was on, Epic Game Store exclusive for the longest, but I think that's like $20 now. But
Okay, that's
yeah,
cool.
definitely do that. I don't know what have you been playing, man? What's up with you?
To be honest, not too much. I've been just going through a little bit more of Token Raw sessions, but not like a lot of it. I guess I haven't really invested a lot of time. I'm still getting through it though. I do intend on finishing it, even if I'm not like really enjoying the story too much.
Yeah.
At least I'm intending to finish it before I don't know, I guess FF7 comes out or
Well, yeah, before it comes out. Yeah.
yeah.
I'm loving.
I don't know if it counts as playing it, but I mean, I was telling you the story a little bit. So I think this is like on the weekend. This is like Sunday or something.
Yeah.
Where I got this weird urge to go play through a bunch of PS classics. I actually wanted to play Chrono Cross because we were talking about Chrono Cross for a while.
Yeah.
Especially on like, what is it? Last week's podcast, we are like, oh yeah, just like if you want to play Chrono Cross, you can't really easily play it, right?
Exactly.
And that's so true. You can't easily play it. So I bought Chrono Cross, like the digital PSN copy, way back when to play on my PSP.
Right.
So that was like, I can't even, how long ago, how many years ago was that? That must be close to 8-10 years or something, right?
Yeah, that's a while back.
Yeah, so I own it in my account, and I was like, oh, well, I want to just play, I want to download it. I was actually planning on going to Book Off, which is a used game store / bookstore here in Japan.
And seeing if you could find it?
Yeah, and I was actually looking for a physical copy like a couple weeks ago, but my local Book Off just didn't have it. They had like 4 or 5 copies of Chrono Trigger on PlayStation 1, but no Chrono Cross.
Okay.
So I was like, oh, I'll look for Chrono Cross or whatever, but I couldn't find it. And then I was like, well, maybe it's easier for me to just play on a modern system because I have a PlayStation TV, right?
Right, like the Vita TV.
The Vita TV. So it's the Vita
Right.
without a screen that you have to plug into a monitor, and it has Ethernet on it, which is actually kind of cool.
It seems like it's really easy to hook up, right? I mean, it's...
Oh, yeah. It takes like the dinkiest power supply, and you just plug in an HDMI cable, and then you're playing Vita essentially on a big screen.
Which is good.
It's pretty weird. But anyway, so so Vitas can play the PlayStation Classics. So if you, whatever PlayStation 1 games you were playing on a PS3 or a PSP, you can actually also play those on a Vita.
Right.
And the Vita TV is a Vita, right? Just without the screen.
Right.
So I went to go and I'm like, oh, I'm going to play it. I'm going to hook it up. I'm going to play a little Chrono Cross. But this turned out to be like 2 hours of my night or something because I don't know if you know this, but you can only have one account registered on a Vita.
Yeah, it's really annoying. Like, so I ran into this issue a long time ago. Like when I came to Japan and I got a PlayStation, I got like a PSP limited edition one, and I got Project Diva, I think. And like I was trying to get the DLC, so I logged into my account, and it's like, what are you doing? You're a North American user. I'm like, what?
Yeah, it won't let you.
Yeah, because it's not region locked. It's just
not.
that you can only have one account per region. Right?
And you only have one account on that hardware.
On that hardware.
And so also memory cards are account, like this is crazy, but memory cards are account locked. I'm not kidding.
It's crazy. And I just still don't know how to this day. Like I ended up getting the hang of switching back and forth, but it's a hassle.
Yeah, so I had to do that. So I plugged in my Vita TV, and it turns out my Japanese account was on that Vita TV. So I had to be like, oh, I'm just going to, because it's been a while. So I like popped out my memory card from my North American Vita, right?
Right.
And I put that into my Vita TV, and it's like, this memory card belongs to a different account. You must reformat it to use it. I'm like, oh, no, not that. Don't do that.
It's like, please don't reformat it. No, don't erase everything.
So then I had to like factory reset the Vita TV, and then I had to put in a memory card, and then it's like, this memory card belongs to this account. I'm like, okay, fine. Because I kind of had like an extra one. So I'm like, okay, fine, just reformat it.
Right.
So I had to like factory reset the Vita and then format the memory card and then log in again. But I have 2-factor authentication on my account. So I had to go get like a special password for it because the Vita is kind of old and it doesn't support like the proper two-factor. I had to make a device password.
It's like the list keeps going and going. Like, how does it get worse than this? Did you ever actually get to play it?
I did, and I played it for like 10 minutes. I'm like, that's good. Okay, good night.
It's like, anyways, I got my fix.
Okay, well, the story like doesn't end there. It gets worse. So I finally log into my North American account on my Vita TV. And unlike the PS4, where you can just go to your library essentially and look at all the games that are in your account that are that are playable on that device, you have to go to like the store essentially, like the store app.
Okay.
And there's no way to just see like purchase. There's no like purchase list. Kind of, there is. It's called a download list.
It's a download list, yeah. Yeah.
Right. So you go to the download list, and I have several problems with this list. So first off, it's in reverse chronological order. So the newest things are at the top, right?
It's really bad.
I bought Chrono Cross, like 10 years ago, so that'd be way at the bottom of the list.
Yeah.
Secondly, it doesn't just show things that are playable on a Vita. It's literally everything that I've bought in my account.
It's everything you've downloaded, any subscriptions, any demos, any betas. It's
all
the entire thing
there.
Yeah. Across all your systems of PlayStation family.
And then, so I'm scrolling down this huge ass list, and then I'm like, oh, Xenogears, I want that. So I hit download.
Just download it.
I hit download on Xenogears. It says like, oh, downloading, no problem. And then here's the thing, it kicks you back to the top of the list. So I have to scroll down all the way again and be like, oh, Suikoden, I want to get that. And then it's like, boom, all the way to the top of the list. Yeah.
Rinse and repeat 20 times.
Yeah, so I did that. Oh, I did that until I was like, hey, you know what? No more games. I'm tired of this. But at the end of it, I got Suikoden 1 and 2, Xenogears, Chrono Cross, Legend of Mana.
Okay.
And Wild Arms 2.
Okay. I mean, it's all good games. I mean, those are all pretty classic games.
And FF Tactics.
And FF Tactics. Well, you got the War of the Lions version, if I remember saying.
I did, yeah, which is actually a PSP, which is a PSP game.
I was going to be like, do you want my copy? It's just like, it's not digital, but I mean, it's the actual physical software. But
that
was
my night.
It's crazy. Like, and I don't think a lot of people have been to that menu. I sometimes go back to that menu every once in a while just to see what I've downloaded. And I don't know if you can actually, I know you can actually access it on your computer, like if, from PlayStation.com or whatever.
Yeah.
PlayStation. But it's stupid. Like it's everything from like 2013 or whenever. No, 2007. It's everything I have since 2007. Like
yeah. What? So I was scrolling down to get the Chrono Cross because that's one of the early things that I bought, right?
Yeah.
I had to go through like Rock Band DLC.
Which isn't, there's so much Rock Band DLC.
I know, and I was like,
Rock Band DLC.
I was like, holy crap, like Rock Band DLC? Like I was still like,
wait, is that company is Harmonix even around anymore still?
I don't think so.
Did EA kill them? Did EA devour them? I thought about this today when playing Apex. I was like, wait a minute, Apex is doing great. Wait a minute, BioWare was doing great. Oh shit, no, Apex, don't die on me in 4 more years.
No, I mean, just as a weird
Respawn don't die.
As a weird tangent, I think a lot of Titanfall fans are already saying that EA killed them because Respawn used to be independent, right? And they made Titanfall, and then EA actually like bought them, so they became EA. And then after they got purchased, then they made Apex. So that's like, oh, this is the end of Respawn.
This is the Apex. I mean, it's happened with I forgot what they were called. The studio that did Dead Space as well.
I don't know.
Oh man, they're escaping my mind. But anyways, that's
but EA killed them. Yeah,
EA destroys as they assimilate everything under the FIFA branch.
Yeah,
FIFA making that bank.
It's kind of like how the Fox engine, which was made for like Metal Gear Solid, is now being used for like winning 11 games. Like
Konami's like, thank you, Koji. Thank you so much. We didn't have much else left, but you gave us
the Fox engine. Yeah,
the Fox engine. You gave us a Fox.
It's like this engine was made for Metal Gear Solid, and now we're putting it to good use for soccer games.
Hey man, you got to keep that soccer. Best sport in the world. I mean, by majority of people who play the sport.
Yeah. Anyway, so that's what I've been doing. I don't know if that counts as playing games, but that's kind of what I did on the weekend.
You
and
played
I intend on playing those games.
But there's something that so this is what got me a little bit crazy before the podcast, and then I guess it just flubbed my intro all over the place because you were just like, I ready to do the show? Yep. All right, cool. Did you know that you play FF7? What? Yeah. Did you play FF7?
Yeah, yeah. So
What are you talking about?
The demo dropped like today. Surprise demo.
Surprise Sony. Like seriously, Nioh 2 beta ends at 6 p.m. here in Japan. 6 p.m. Japan. The Final Fantasy 7 demo. What? What?
I don't know if it was
Speechless.
Exactly 6 p.m., but I think I was on like Twitter or something, and then people were like talking about downloading the demo. Like, what are you talking about downloading the demo?
Right?
Then,
it's like this.
Yeah, and then I saw like the tweet from PlayStation, and I was like, oh my god.
Dude, the tweet just says the Final Fantasy VII Remake demo is out now on PS4. And then you can go like full details on what to expect when storming Mako Reactor Part 1 from our blog. Like, who's going to go to your blog? Just going to download it. I don't want to go to your blog. I just want to.
So I know you haven't played it yet, but I've already played a little bit of it. It's good. It's like that's all good. That I can say. Yeah.
Should I save myself?
For the full game?
For the full game? Or should I
just play the demo? Just play the demo, man.
I love how it's like, should I play the demo of the game that I played X amount of years ago? Oh,
it's good. So I'm like doing the first couple bits of it, like the combat tutorial. And I'm just like, so my first impression is that I'm like, I like how they've reinvented this game. Like it's still the bombing mission.
Right.
But the fact that now it's an action RPG, they have to retool kind of the experience. You know what I mean?
And so I am kind of curious, and I know we did talk about this a little bit, but is it kind of similar to kind of FF15 or Crisis Core in a little bit?
Yep.
Okay.
So square is your attack. So you can just mash that button and you'll just be attacking.
And then you'll build meter for...
Yeah, and then you'll build meter. And then once you have meter built, then you can use abilities, you can use spells.
Okay.
So it's not like you can just kind of spam your magic, I guess. You have to earn it, essentially.
You have to earn the MP. So the MP, it's almost all in one gauge? Because I can't remember.
It's like an ATB gauge, yeah.
Okay, it's an ATB gauge. So, which is, I mean, like if you've looked at a lot of Final Fantasy games, that's the direction they're pretty much in at the moment.
Yeah, and then you have a guard button and you have a dodge roll, actually, which is crazy. To think that like FF7 has a dodge roll.
That doesn't cost you AP like in Crisis Core.
Oh, yeah.
Gosh. I just want to roll out the way. AP, which isn't bad. That's insane.
It's good. You should check it out. Definitely play through it. I think this is the same demo from TGS. Like, it might be the same thing.
Which is the same demo from E3, which is the same demo from... It's the same demo. I'm pretty sure they only have one demo that they continue to, like, polish up a little bit, and then also maybe... add a couple things to here and there, but it's not like there's been like multiple demos of this game.
Yeah,
to my knowledge.
You know what's crazy? I don't know if you remember this, but do you remember when FF13 was being made? And you could, if you bought FF7 Advent Children, like the special edition, it came with a demo, right?
Right.
If you compare like that demo to like the final product, it's weird. It's different.
That demo was really linear too, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I remember like you just walk down it wasn't even a corridor. I don't remember that.
It's like the bridge, and then you fight that machine, that scorpion machine thing, kind of like, I guess, FF7, dude, but yeah.
No, but what's crazy is like that game, I remember when that was being streamed, and this is so early that I was watching on Justin.tv. Okay.
Before it became Twitch.
Before it became Twitch, and like who would have known that would have happened? But I mean, it's insane, honestly, that we're almost a month away. We're a little bit out, but the internet's going to go crazy. Things are going to crash. Peer pressure is going to get me.
Yeah.
But I'm going to resist.
Here's the thing, though, is that they said that it's going to be multiple parts, right? But this game that's coming out isn't called Part 1 or anything. This game is called FF7 Remake. That's the name of this game that's coming out. That is apparently not the full story.
Are you going to say that instead of actually continuously releasing the game, it's just going to be in DLC, like I think they said, but like
no,
there's not going to be physical release?
I'm not saying that.
What are you saying? What are you saying? Where are you getting at?
I'm just saying like maybe Part 2 won't even have Part 2 in it. It'll say like FF7
Remake.
I don't know, like
Again?
FF7 Gold Saucer or like FF7
I mean,
like FF7 something. There's a subtitle to it, right?
I bet you $10 it'll be like Final Fantasy 15 episode of Gold Saucer.
Yeah, something like that, right? So
Yeah.
it doesn't have a number. It says like FF7 like the
This
City of the Ancients or something, or FF7 like materia, FF7 meteor materia. I don't know. You know what I mean?
Yeah, this is pretty much the hub or the first part, but everything under this kind of is almost like a thread of episodes, which in that case, the question becomes, and we're like super off topic again, but we will close soon, everybody. If it does come out in DLC order, right? Like DLC 1, 2, 3, can you actually play them out of order? Would be my
Probably
question.
not. Probably not. I don't know. I don't think you maybe you can, but you
If
probably
they're all
shouldn't.
episodic almost, then
Well, it's
each
probably
one
like
is,
the Walking Dead episodes where you need to do them in order.
and then like, oh, you continue like there has to be something that continues not the story. The story continues. Anyways, yeah.
Yeah, it has to because like it's a story. It's you just can't be like, oh, I'm gonna wait till like the Crater DLC and then just do the boss fight. You know what I mean? Like you.
That would be kind of crazy. Unless they give us like some like a side story DLC. Oh my goodness, they could milk this. They could milk this. We could get side stories.
I want them to just do the entire like FF7 thing like in this remake. So I want I even want like that Vincent game. You know what I mean? Like
All right, let's just go. Let's go.
what's it called? Sorry.
Dirge Cerberus.
Dirge Cerberus.
Why are we? And while they're at it,
Yeah,
Yeah.
put that in here, and then Advent Children, like put that in here as well.
put Crisis
Just like-
Core. You want the whole compilation of Final Fantasy
Yeah,
7?
yeah.
And
I mean, just make this project when it's done. Like make this the definitive FF7 experience, so we don't have to go and find a PSP to play Crisis Core, or we don't have to watch this movie that's already like 13 years old. So just make it so we don't need to find those extra things. We can just like enjoy the story in this one kind of FF7 project that I can play on a PS5.
I would say you're borderline crazy, but with the way that Kingdom Hearts has released literally every little bit of itself multiple times in fractions, and then put it together in a complete form, and then come back to put it together again in a complete form, I think that you might be onto something.
Yeah, but those aren't like remakes, right?
Hey, if it works for one, it can work for the other.
You
They're not
you want them
remakes.
to just put out like Crisis
That's
Core
right.
on a PS5 disc, like as is?
No, I'm just saying, they can do it. They can do it. Not putting it as is, but just HD it up a little bit and
Or
If
like
it's
put it as
broken-
cutscenes, like it's a 2-hour Crisis Core movie.
exactly. So yeah, I'm gonna go and play it after this show, and I'm pretty sure Alex is also gonna definitely go and play it. And we'll be back on the next episode to talk about more Final Fantasy VII. And you were wondering if this was gonna become an Apex only podcast.
It's FF7, yeah.
It's sponsored by Final Fantasy VII Remake. Okay, well, anyways, on the other side of the break, everyone, we have a couple questions from our listeners, and I think maybe just one thing of news. So hopefully the news will go by quick. The other part, not so much. And we'll
Yeah,
see you on the
sounds
other side
good.
of the break.
All right. Yeah.
See you guys.
Here comes a new challenger.
And we're back, everyone. That's right. I'm going to challenge my life to be better. Just like some people challenged. I'm sorry, Alex. What?
Yeah, no, I'm sorry. Continue.
Well, no. We just got, okay, my randomness is all over the place. Anyways, we have a couple questions about Japan life from a couple listeners. So I want to say thank you so much for writing in and letting us know. And these are posted on my personal Facebook. If you're friends of the show, you can always respond there. And of course, you can always follow us on Twitter or Instagram at UGP_cast. We do take questions there. And we also take voice messages from our Anchor page, which you can also find in the show notes. Got all that out pretty quickly, everyone. So our first question is going to be from Mora. Thanks for writing in, buddy. It is, do you have any advice for expiring, almost said expiring, aspiring
Expiring.
for aspiring comic writers like yourself, what's going on in that industry, what needs to change. And he's also saying that there's a noticeable outsourcing in the credits of anime. So if we can explain in detail, he'd like to hear our opinion on it. And there's always rumors about the working conditions, and that are also even just in anime blatantly like, hey, working conditions aren't actually the best in animation. So he wants it full on, no sugar coated, no BS. Alex, what do we got for him?
So I actually don't know that much about the industry, like the inside of the industry. I do know that wages aren't that good. Like, people don't make very good money being an animator, and they also work incredibly long hours. So you'll see this with like modern anime. Like, if you nitpick some of the scenes, a lot of scenes now have a lot of non-moving elements, so the background actually just doesn't move, and only like the characters in the foreground move. And they do that obviously just to save time. Money. Yeah, save money, save time. It's just easier to have like a background plate and animate a little bit. And then sometimes like animation is just like really messed up. I think it was pretty recently, there's an episode of Dragon Ball Super.
Yeah, Dragon Ball Super got called out really early on for just some wonky animation.
It was really bad. It was awful. Like, some of those cells, those frames were just whack.
So
and that's just a result of I think not enough time and people just being overworked. And wages aren't great. Like, people just aren't being paid very well.
And so, like, I guess if we want to we can definitely go back and kind of look at this from the top down. A lot of times in anime, you have two different things, right? You have anime on TV and you have anime that's in the theaters, right? And if you go and look at both of them, you're going to see a difference in the quality of animation, which Alex was just talking about, right? One has budget and a bigger budget, of course, and also time. And that time, you will see a lot of animation in between. So you're actually going to see like the picture moving smoother in terms of like, you don't just see them talking and not moving, like it's just their mouths, right? That's a technique to save money. But I think when you look at it overall, like Alex was kind of saying, is working conditions aren't the best. And I was actually learning about a little bit this in Shirobako. It's a really great anime that takes a look at the anime industry, similar to like how Bakuman takes a look at the manga industry. Definitely recommend watching Shirobako. And because I did not know this, I thought that the way that they made episodes, and this is why you have kind of outsourcing, is I thought that one studio, and I didn't pay attention to the credits that much. I know that there's a lot of outsourcing to foreign countries for animation, but when you look at the time frame, if they're still making it this way, which I'm 100% sure they are, they're making an anime week by week. Each episode is week per week. It's not like how I thought at one point, like, oh, okay, they've actually made the anime episode like a movie almost, and then they
kind of release it, right?
And then they release it one as it goes. No, they're making
not true.
Week in and week out. So similar to how manga artists for weekly publications work, literally those guys for manga, I have more experience with and knowledge on that, is that they are working, they're 7 days in a week. They are working about 5 to 6 days, right?
Yeah.
5 is if they're on time, lucky with assistance. Normally, if they fall behind or they have to do some extra work, it's 6 days.
Yeah, it's crunch. Like, there's always a deadline. I thought the same thing as well. I thought they had a bit of a backlog. They're like, oh, we have 5 episodes in, like, ready to go.
Right.
But they're actually just like always making them.
They're always making. They may have like the first couple of episodes ready, and I've seen this when you'll actually notice this if you ever see an anime that has an intro that something doesn't feel kind of right, and then like 3 weeks later it gets finished. Like, it's literally because they just, things were running late, so they actually have to coordinate how they are going to kind of produce each episode.
Yeah.
With working with different companies through that outsourcing. Now, usually the main studio will handle the, some of the key components in terms of like key animation frames. So that means that you have, here's the start of the pose, here's the end of the pose, fill in the blanks. We'll outsource that part, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that saves time, and you have the key parts there. So anyone, as long as they have skills, can pretty much fill it in.
This is like just the time schedule was really apparent. It becomes apparent when there's something in real life that affects the anime. So I remember when Darling in the Franxx was airing on TV, one of the voice actors got sick and he couldn't record.
Oh,
and then
no.
they had to announce that like his character in the series like had to, like, we don't know what to do with it. And I'm like, what do you mean? Like, aren't you guys done? Like, isn't he done recording all the lines?
Right.
But because he was sick, I think in the next, like the week after, his character just like didn't speak.
I mean, it's insane. So, Mora is asking, like, what needs to change? And I got to say, one thing that I think has kind of come about is working conditions in Japan overall in general. I don't think it's just due in animation industry, but I think overall those conditions have to change. I know there's a lot of companies, especially, I mean, now that are starting to do, kind of remote work or trying to kind of make sure that their employees go home early. Sorry, not early, on time.
On time.
There we go.
Yeah.
On time.
On time. Yeah.
On time. And there is a kind of, not system, but I've heard, experienced Japanese workers when they're looking for jobs, and this, young to even people in their 40s, when they're looking for a job, they know that there's going to be overtime. It's kind of accepted. The difference is how much overtime are you willing to tolerate? Because companies will actually tell you either on the resume, or not resume, but on like the application form, or they'll tell you during the interview, like, you have 40 hours overtime. Like, it's just out there. You have 20 hours overtime a month. Like, it's estimated, engaged.
Yep.
So you have to tell yourself, am I okay working that or not? But for the most part, everyone's okay up to, I think, about what, 30, 20? Is 20 okay? I don't know. Because, like, I wouldn't work any overtime if I didn't have to.
Yeah, I actually do have. I can't remember what it was, but it isn't a couple contracts. So if you're considering moving to Japan, that is one thing that you need to be careful about. That will be in your contract. Like, be really careful about overtime, like pay and how it works. In every job interview that I've ever done in Japan, I've always asked about overtime. I've always asked about how much are you expected to do? Is it paid? And well, basically that was it. How much are you expected to do, and is it paid overtime? Like, I'll ask that. I've asked that in every single job interview that I've done. Yeah, because it's important to know.
It's important,
and if you don't know, like, you could get taken advantage of.
Yeah, and especially if you hit that, oh, is there anything else I can do? Why, yes, there is something you can do. And
yeah,
I mean, it's
like
a rabbit
loophole
hole if you don't watch out, right?
Yeah, I think some, like, not as good companies will, like, they'll be like, oh, it was voluntary. Like, he wanted to do it. Like, he was okay with not getting paid. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, and then that's straight up true. I mean, it's happened. It hasn't happened to me because I've kind of known some of those, but even for teachers, right? This shocked me when I was working in middle schools, is that a lot of teachers, at least in my school system, I don't know how it is for anyone else, I'm pretty sure it's the same, but work, like, club activities, they start after school from maybe, like, what we'll say 4 to 6 p.m. in the summers, or 3 to 6 p.m. in the summers. So they're not doing anything school related in terms of grading papers or anything, but they get done at 6, and then they start grading papers and doing their lesson plans, and then they're done by 9. Yeah, ain't no overtime. It's volunteer. What?
Yeah, it's how they get you.
Volunteer
and because
work.
It's like, because it's volunteer, you're not getting paid for it.
Yeah, it's out of the goodness of your heart. So that overall in Japan has to change. And hopefully, this is kind of a side effect of the coronavirus. There's more companies right now telling people to work from home. I don't know, maybe that could open up a little bit of, open up something to at least kind of alleviating that a little bit. If people kind of realized, oh, I can do my work from home. You're letting me do it from home. Can I continue doing it from home, like once a week, twice a week or something?
Yeah.
Maybe that could be a thing. But yeah, outsourcing is, I mean, it's just, yeah, they just have to kind of find people who can do the animation, because what's really, this is kind of going another direction a little bit, but when you look at the credits of anime, look at the staff who's producing it, and then look at all the other Japanese companies, and then look at the outsourcing companies. A lot of times you will see like Production IG. They're working on a lot of different anime as well with other company. It's like a small industry. I always thought it was bigger. It's like a small industry. So you'll have like 3 well-known companies all working on an anime, and then the outsourcing companies in like maybe Korea or Vietnam. Like it's wow. I'm like, okay, that's just how much they have to do. I mean, hopefully CG can help with that a little bit. CG animation can take a little bit of time off of animating, but I don't know. I'm not an expert in that. And this subject can go on forever. Alex is like, it could go on forever. Especially like in terms of any advice for aspiring comic writers. If you want to say in Japan, I will say one thing, and that is just continue to write, continue to, if you can draw, learn to draw, try to put yourself in the shoes of like cinematography, just learning about as much stuff as you can, and then just submit your work. Submit it to any major publishers, submit it to minor publishers, online. The key is just to continue submitting it. And what makes a manga, what makes a comic, is the person who's writing it or drawing it, or in some cases that's the same person, like in the case of manga, and the editor that they're working with. That's where you get that kind of team up, right? When you find the right person that can help you and you can help them, and it kind of just synergizes and you're working together, that's when a lot of the stories become a lot better in terms of flowing. And also just like, hey, someone who's not just like, you're always in your work, but this person who's helping you isn't in your work, you know, they're kind of looking at it from the outside perspective. Is this actually funny, or do you just think it's funny? So try to get as much experience in life and use that in your writing. That's, I think, the number 1 and number 2. Submit and use your experiences. Whew.
I mean, I don't do anything creative, so I can't. I have nothing to chime in with.
We do this podcast, and that,
yeah.
I mean, that in and of itself is like day in and day out. But week after week, you know, we finish a show and we ask ourselves, like, how can we make it better? You know, like even in the ways that you've, and you know, kind of set up the soundboard with the sound effects. You know, like, how can we make it more entertaining for the people who are listening to us? And how can we include them more? Not just to get more listeners, but how can we entertain the ones who are, you know, people who are just spending their time? And that's the thing. Entertainment is spending your time, and in some cases your money. And both of those are precious. So, yeah, you know what it's like. That grind to get better. Shonen anime style.
Yeah.
Oh, gosh. Oh, man.
Well, I think we have another question, though.
We do.
Check that one out. Yeah.
I have no clue how long we spent on that. Maura, thanks for the question.
A little while, yeah.
We spent a while. I think hopefully we answered some of it. But the next one is coming from Stephanie, and she is asking a really nice question. I think we answered it a little bit before in another episode, but is it difficult to transition from being in the United States to Japan, or like a foreign country to Japan? And how long does it take to get used to stuff like time zones and currency, you know, just learning to go around, food, etc.? Just in case she comes, you know, one day.
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, we're both, we have both traveled to Japan, or we moved here, not just traveled, we moved here from like our respective countries. So
yeah.
I think we have a little bit of experience in this regard. How long does it take to get used to time zones? I would say like immediately. I mean, what do you mean get used to time zones? Like get used to, do they mean like talking to your family and your friends, or like just getting used to the time?
I think just getting used to the time in general. Just
I would say, well, however long it takes you to get over your jet lag. So you land in Japan and you just like sleep for maybe 2-3 days and you're like, okay, this is my life now.
Yeah. I mean, I think for me, coming from the US, and I know for Alex coming from Canada, it's pretty much like you get here and I think it kind of fixes itself in about a week at least. Like you'll wake up usually at 5 a.m.
Oh my God. Yeah.
You'll go to sleep and you'll just wake up for no reason at 5 a.m. or 6 a.m.
You just wake up early and you're like, oh my God, I'm like a early riser now. Look at me go. I'm so productive. And then like a week later, like, all right, no.
Yeah. And then
back to normal.
It's back to normal. The opposite is, is kind of a different story, but we'll save ourselves on the opposites. Currency wise, I do actually. This is kind of a mindset that I was always converting things to dollars.
Yeah, me too, actually.
And even now, it is kind of weird. So over the weekend, Square had a huge sale on PC, and Nier was 50% off, and then
Right.
couple other games. So I was like, okay, well, I don't have enough money in my US account to really get Nier at the moment, but maybe I'll try my Japanese one. And so you'll go and you'll check the prices. So Nier is $20 US, but when I go to the Japanese side, it's 3,600 yen, which is like what even
Really?
take.
That's pretty bad.
Yeah, it was like I was like, why is it so much more expensive?
Yeah. So here the pro tip, I guess, the dirty like life hack version of currency. If you're coming from dollars, especially American dollars, and to some degree American and Australian dollars, is you just divide by 100, right? So 100 yen is about $1. It's pretty close to USD. If it's Australian or Canadian, you have to add like, let's say it's like 1.2 or something like that.
Right.
But that's the really easy way to conceptualize how much something is. So if it's like 5,000 yen, you're like, it's like $55, something like that, right?
Yeah. It's just a little bit.
Yeah, I was doing that for, to be honest, a while. I was doing that for a very long time. And it wasn't until, I would say like maybe 2 years ago or something, when I just started to look at something in yen and then just be like, oh, that's the price of this without thinking about it in dollars.
In dollars.
Because like there's a weird internal feeling when you look at a price and you have a reaction as to whether that's expensive, reasonable, or cheap, right? Mm-hmm. And if you're not used to the currency, if you see something like, let's say you go to a grocery store, right? Mm-hmm. But so imagine you're in a grocery store and you look at a loaf of bread. And let's say that bread says 500 yen.
Yeah, my mind's thinking five. My mind just thinks the 1-to-1, so I'm like, okay, $5.
Right. So I was doing that for a while. So I would look at 500 yen and be like, how much is that? And I'd be like, $5. Oh, that's expensive. But it wasn't until like 2 years ago when I just started to look at the price and just have that natural feeling and knowing that like, oh wait, that's expensive.
That's
like
expensive.
Without having to convert it in my head.
Yeah, and I think what really comes with that, Stephanie, is that when you start actually working in Japan, you're getting paid in yen, so you spend yen.
In yen, yeah, that's it. That's the key.
I never think about it that way. I do want to go back and say it was actually 2,600 yen. Sorry about that, not 3,000 for the Nier, 50% off. Anyways, but yeah, that does help a lot when you actually work in Japan, and then it kind of just starts clicking. But you'll still have those moments where, like when I go to Taco Bell here, I can never forget Taco Bell is this way. When you start comparing things that actually exist in your country. So Taco Bell, you can get a taco for like what, $1, $2? Japan, it's like you're paying $4 for a taco. What the heck? Why am I paying $4? Like, I don't know. Sometimes those things kind of get me. Even like McDonald's, I love Yorumak, which is like night Mac McDonald's, because I feel like I'm
deal
getting
they have,
yeah. I feel like I'm getting my money's worth. It's $5 for a large, large fries and 10 chicken McNuggets. I feel like $5. That's justifiable.
A pretty good deal.
That's a good deal, as opposed to like normally, So I don't know.
Yeah.
You will still think about that.
I think it took me several years, like until I would say at least 4 or 5 years, to just conceptualize, to not do the automatic translation in my head, like the conversion. I mean,
Because like you said,
like you said, like, well, I think it for me. It was like when I realized that like I'm not getting paid in dollars, so why would I like think about this in dollars? Like if it's X amount of my monthly salary, that's how I conceptualize it. If I'm looking at like a laptop or something, and I'm like, oh, this laptop is actually like 1.5 times my monthly salary, then I'm like, okay, that's bad. Like that's really expensive.
Right. That's one thing. And then I think the last thing on her list, kind of course, like overall transitioning, but kind of locations. And we can just kind of in this getting around in Japan / kind of living day to day. I mean, location wise, it's I remember walking around with a flip phone trying to figure out where things are, and
Oh,
Japan
like
does not
using
have.
the weird mapping application on the old phones?
Oh yes, because Japan does not have street signs. They have main roads which have names, but everything else you're going off landmarks. Literally, if a company is telling you how to get to it, it's we're next to the 7-Eleven that's next to the movie theater that's next to this one place. If you link all those together, you'll get to us. Here's a map. Here's the main road, and here are those places. Go find us. Like
Yeah. I would be so screwed without Google Maps, like on my smartphone.
Without Google, yeah.
I don't remember how I survived. I remember, okay, sorry. When I was at university here and I had like the Garakei, like the normal phone, I guess, not smartphone.
Yeah, just a flip phone. Yeah.
Yeah, just a flip phone. It had maps and it had GPS.
But
'cause
you have to
Japanese-
like rotate that thing though. Like you have to. I had to
it was
physically
weird,
rotate
yeah.
the phone to keep my directional sense. Gosh.
Yeah, it wasn't great. I remember getting pretty lost when I was first here. But now that we have all smartphones and we have Google Maps, which is pretty good, and GPS is fairly accurate, it's kind of not bad, I guess. It's not too bad.
It's not that bad. I think the worst is probably going to be like trains, in the sense that trains run schedules like on the dot, which is nice. Even buses, but if you don't watch out, there are some trains at certain times of the morning.
Some lines are really bad.
You're like, hey, this should go all the way here, but no, from this time to this time only, it actually goes halfway.
I know,
and then
yeah.
veers off, and you're like, why am I going to a different prefecture or something?
So even now, so I'm pretty familiar with JR. So I take the JR mostly. I don't live in Tokyo, so I don't have a lot of metro experience.
Yeah,
but I'm mostly JR, right?
Mm-hmm.
JR, thankfully JR is pretty good. It's not too bad.
It's pretty straightforward.
But I've had experiences like what you were mentioning. So there is a certain line that takes me to where I live, but if you, depending on when you get on it, it actually skips like a lot of stations, like a lot of stations.
It'll skip. I have one that's similar to that. It goes to like West Narita, which is like near the airport, and just completely skips my station. It's like an hour out their way because I missed it one time.
I know. So I was coming back from drinks because I was hanging out in Shibuya or whatever, and I was like, all right, well that's it. I'll see you later. So I hop on a train, not really paying attention, and I'm standing on the train. I usually get on this platform and I usually take this line. I figured nothing was a problem, and I'm like, then I realized like I'm on the train still. Like I'm still riding it.
You're
and it
just
hasn't
kind of like,
stopped
what?
me.
What's happening?
I like look up. I'm on like this commuter super rapid, the commuter like rapid express. I've for sure missed my stop because it just didn't stop at my station and it kept going for like an hour.
And the worst part is like there's no train at that time when you get off that's gonna go back the same way you came. You're gonna like stop at every station. Was there?
Yeah. So I got off the station, which is normally the end of the line for the normal line that I get off. That's like pretty much end of the line. I hop back on, not on a rapid, on like a normal train.
It's like a normal train.
And I'm like, I'm not gonna be home for a while. So that was it. Yeah.
It's crazy. But yeah, Stephanie, I think overall, it's just like when you get to any new place, as long as you don't feel like, for me, I never felt like Japan was different from home. And it's kind of weird. I feel like I could live in a lot of different places in the world with that logic. Like people are people. If I just kind of keep everything level, even though the buildings are much taller in some places, sometimes they're not. And it reminds you of home. But you just kind of try to remember, basic human instincts. There we go. They will kick in. And no matter
survive.
Eat, fight, survive. Do you know what food looks like? You can buy stuff at the grocery store because the apple looks still like an apple.
Yeah, thank God for that. I think at least a lot of people that I know from back home, they're always like, not always like, but people are like, oh, you live in Japan, that's so cool. And then some people are like, oh, I'm thinking of moving to Japan or something like that. They'll always be like, oh, I'm thinking of shaking up my life and kind of moving out to Japan as well.
Yep.
And especially if you've never lived in a foreign country before, you might have this idea that things are just better here for some reason. But you have to remember that it's still like a big city, Tokyo at least, and you're gonna find like like you're still gonna find unpleasant things about living in Japan. There'll be some systems that don't make sense. There'll be assholes on the train in the city. There'll be like there's crime, like there's murder. You know what I mean?
There is, yeah. It's like, less than some other countries.
Well, yeah, there is. Yeah,
but it does exist. Don't think your bike is not going to get stolen. Still put a lock on it.
Yeah,
bike crime is number one theft here.
Yeah, well, thank God in Japan it's petty crime at least, but there is like actual crime. There's like there's murders and stuff, but like, and there's scams. People might try to take advantage of you. They might try to take your money and stuff. So it's and as an adult in Japan, like I pay taxes and there's everything that sucks about being an adult. It still sucks. Here.
It's still here.
Yeah.
And you still have, and I think a lot of us being foreigners in Japan, we all have a similar story in terms of like really like when you are even getting your phone, right?
Oh my God, yeah.
I make sure I asked 4 different times, especially if you don't know Japanese that well, make sure you know what you're getting. Make sure you know what you're paying. Ask as many times as you need to until you understand. Give them to write it, whatever you have to do, because it will sound like, oh, this is good, right? Or this, I don't understand it, so I'll just say okay. Like,
yeah, that's scary. That's the scariest thing.
Don't do that. I've actually done that sometimes. When I first came, I'd be like, hi.
You just say yes to everything,
yes.
right?
And then like at one point I was like, what did I say yes to? Like, I didn't even know.
The scariest thing where, for phone contracts or other contracts, just anything in general like that, especially if it involves money. Yeah. If you aren't careful, you could really end up screwing yourself. Yeah, exactly.
You might be out. So before you do something, make some friends, people you trust if they're Japanese or people who understand Japanese. The community of foreigners here are pretty tight, I think. Like I said, we all have similar stories, even though we might not have similar backgrounds from where we came from or how we were raised. Like Japan makes one thing very clear. It equalizes any type of somewhat potential racism you might have thought or your opinions, because you went from being potentially the minority or majority to now just being minority with more minority. Like
exactly, yeah. Here's a question actually. Yeah. This is from me. What is an example of racism that you've experienced in Japan? Either like overtly, like obvious, or just like Japanese people were being racist, but they didn't really know they're actually being racist.
I haven't had racism, but I've had stereotypes. Like I was kind of somewhat dumb to racism in the U.S. until I started working for a little bit. In certain times, like I could understand it a little bit more. But in Japan, like it's stereotypes. Stereotypes are the worst. Like if I see a black person on TV, I'm praying they're representing black people as like great, proud people. I'm like, please do not, because literally teaching at school, or even if I go to karaoke, people will say like, oh, sing a rap song for us.
Do all the rap songs.
Songs. I'm like, but I actually cannot rap. Like I have a hard time reading, and I have a hard time reading fast. So I'm like, no, I can't do rap. I'm sorry. Or like when I was at, school, they'd be like, oh, do you play basketball? I'm like, I just told you I play baseball. I played baseball for like 13 years or something.
Uh-huh.
But it's like, oh, please play basketball. You can be like Kobe or something. I'm like, what in your mind are you? I've been called Eddie Murphy, Obama, and Will Smith all in the same day. All in the same day. It was like, oh, you remind me of Obama. And then someone's like, oh, you look like Will Smith. And then like someone's like, oh, you remind me of Eddie Murphy. I'm like, who?
Oh my God.
There was a girl who was like, oh, bless her heart. And it's never unintentional. All these are from kids, but it was never unintentional. It was unintentional. But she was just like, I remember one year she was just like, she didn't talk to me that much. And I was like, okay, have a nice day or whatever. And the next year, like in the summer, she was just like always looking at me. And I'm like, why are you looking? Like, what's that? And her friends were like, dude, she likes you. She has a crush on you. I'm like, what? What? So then like I'm walking around in class, right? And I'm checking notebooks and stuff. And then I realized something. And this was the funniest thing. I walk up and I see her notebook and she's scribbling Ja Rule. I don't know if you know
Rule.
The rapper.
I know,
yes.
I know Ja Rule, yeah.
Somewhere in the time that I left and then that summer, she had discovered Ja Rule. And I was the closest thing to Ja Rule that she was going to.
That's funny, man.
Anyways, yeah, those are my innocent stories.
So
I don't know.
you've
How
never
about
had
you? Oh, God.
okay.
Like
Well,
actual racism?
not either
No.
racism or discrimination, either intentional or unintentionally.
I have been like asked to show my
ID.
ID just walking
Yeah.
out of the station just for no reason. Ironically, I did
Yeah.
not
Okay.
have my ID that day. And I got pulled to the police station and we talked about manga and they checked with the international department or whatever in Japan and it was all cleared and they were like, cool, man. I enjoyed talking about manga with you. Didn't think that would ever happen. I was like, anyways,
Yeah.
continue.
So I think for the worst that it's ever happened to me is when I was looking for apartments. The last time I was apartment shopping.
Yeah.
So me and my girlfriend, we go to the real estate agent, and we're like, oh, we want, apartments of this size and that aren't older than 15 years or something like that. So we have a bunch of like, we had a specific type of apartment in mind and a specific size.
Right.
So we were like picking out a bunch of properties or whatever, and then the agent is just like, okay, you guys should go take a break, go to McDonald's or something. I'm gonna go call these people. And
the landlord, yeah.
Right, and she was like, I'm going to ask these people if they're okay with renting to foreigners. And then we're like, okay. So we go to McDonald's, have a little lunch, come back, and it turns out over half of the apartments that we picked out, the landlord was just like, no foreigners.
Yeah, because like they're worried that for some reason after you pay all that key fee, the money, like it's stupid to rent an apartment here, the initial down payments, but that
so expensive.
you'll leave, like you'll have a bank account, you'll have everything, but there's this mindset
You'll be afraid that you'll leave. Yeah,
that you'll leave or you won't obey the rules. I had a coworker that actually had an issue with someone was taking out the trash at the wrong time or putting the wrong trash or something, and the landlord knocked on their door. They were doing everything right, and it's just like
assuming it was them, right?
Why just me? So like I said, it doesn't matter what nationality you are, you get grouped into the foreigner club,
right?
As Japan wants to be more foreigner friendly.
And it's crazy because, like, especially with apartment shopping, because it's like I have a job here, I work here. You know what I mean? Yeah. Why I have a decently paying job. Like I'm not like scraping by. You know what I mean?
Right.
I have a life here now. Like I've been here for what 8 years? I've been here for a long time. So like, why would I just be like, you know what? Screw it, I'm out. Like no, like I have debts here, I have friends here, I have roots here now. So it just seems insane to me that like, because I guess they don't know me, right? But like.
Yeah,
I wouldn't just like flee the country.
Yeah, it's like an extra step, and I can only imagine that even in the U.S. or other countries, it could potentially, might be the same. I don't want to not imagine it because, like, people are gonna, like I said, come to the Japan or any country with the mindset people are people. You're not gonna find a different glowing breed of people being like life is wonderful. No, you're gonna find some, like Alex was saying, some good people and some bad people. And
it took me a long time to get a credit card in Japan because they just wouldn't give me, because they're like,
credit card.
Yeah, it took me forever to get a credit card because they're like, oh, you're high risk because like you don't have you've only been in Japan for 2 years, you don't make that much money, but back then, but like I'm glad now that I'm way stable now. So, but how about, do you have a Japanese credit card? You do, right?
I do, and mine actually came. Oh, I got mine on the first try. but
that was your first credit card?
It's my first credit card. I have somewhat of a loophole, kind of. I guess it's a loophole. So my friend had also been trying, and a couple other friends, years, just like you. And I went to the bank, and I would always send money back, and I would say, if you can make friends with people anywhere you can, make friends with them. I would always talk to the bank lady, and she was always nice because I'd have to wait like 30 minutes to send money back. And people were like, why don't you just do it online? I'm like, I actually like going, like literally the last day I was there, she was like, I'm actually not going to be here anymore. They're transferring me, but it's been really nice talking with you. And I hope that you do well in Japan. I'm like, thanks. So there was the branch manager, he would, I guess, maybe he knew about me or something. He would always see me. He came up to me. I didn't even look at him. He just comes up to me and says, do you need a credit card or anything? Like, would you like to buy stuff like online? And I'm like, yeah, actually that would help. He's like, yeah, let me hook you up. Let me talk to you about this. And it's actually more common now. It is a cash card. So it's like your bank
Oh, it's your cash card. That's also a bank card. Yeah.
Also a bank card. And I guess this was like the start of when that was happening.
Right.
And so I didn't have to really get a credit check so much as they were just checking my bank account, and I was like, okay, cool.
Okay, because you have money in your bank account, so they're like, oh, cool, he has money in his account, so he could pay for this card, right?
Right. But
do you have a normal credit card now, or what?
No, I don't have a normal credit card. I don't even have a normal U.S. credit card.
Okay, so yeah, I have like a credit card, like from like a American Express or MasterCard or Visa or something like that, right?
Yeah.
It took me a long time to get, because I had to do the checks. I had to like tell them how much I was making, and then it's like call the company I was working for. It was crazy.
It's some of the back and forth paperwork, immigration. This list could go on and on, Stephanie, or anyone who's listening who's thinking about coming to Japan. I think the number one thing is find a community and have a goal. Those two things. If you have a goal and you keep going towards it, if it's writing comics and okay, I need to do this, no matter what they say, no matter what happens, I continue doing this. And if you have a support system, you'll be okay. Because what happens is you'll get used to Japan instead of having the image like, oh, I'm coming to Japan. It's like anime, or like, it's so hype. Yeah. You will be able to understand, I'm living here. It's a normal place. There are some cool things, but we're still using fax and paperwork out the wazoo over here.
Yeah.
It's still like America's little brother is what I call Japan.
There's a YouTuber that I watch occasionally. Do you know Dogen? He makes like Japanese skits and stuff.
No.
Okay, well he does. You should check him out. He does like, because he's a foreigner that lives in Japan, so a lot of his humor like we would get because he makes those jokes about Japan life. But he has like one video. It came out like, I think he put up like a year ago or something, and it's just like, as a foreigner, people often ask me, why did you come to Japan? And you've heard it all the time, and no doubt I've heard it all the time. As a foreigner, you get asked that, right?
Why did you come to Japan? Yes.
Right. And then in this video, it's kind of serious actually. In this video, he talks about how I could have talked about how I was really into anime, or I could have told them that I really like martial arts, or that I like J-pop or Shino Ringo or whatever, right?
Right.
And then at the end of the video, he says like, I could have said all of that, but what I actually normally just say is I look at them and I say, I don't know why I came to Japan, but I'm glad that I did. And I think that's how a lot of us feel.
You don't want it. Yeah, those stereotypes. I ain't lying. The stereotypes are real, because in the back of the mind, either they're thinking it or not thinking it. Oh, you must like anime. You must like games and manga. And you don't want to say it because you do, but you also like more than that. Or maybe you came to study Japanese and like get a better grasp of the language, but that just happened to be the link. Because remember, oh man, this is such a we're on like the rabbit hole here. Oh man.
Yeah, this is like an entirely different podcast. Like we could just take these kind of questions and just have like a different podcast, because this isn't game related. Really, but
I was gonna say we had one thing of news, Project GG.
Sure, yeah, we can. Platinum, so back to games, I guess. So
back to games. Thank you, games. Stephanie.
Yeah, thanks for the question.
So Platinum Games.
GG, yeah.
Lead us in.
Are they so Platinum Games? I think they announced a bunch of like stuff that they were going to do, and one of those things turned out to be the Wonderful 101 remaster, right?
Remaster for
Switch and PS4 and Xbox,
which was kickstarted.
Switch, yeah, it was Switch originally, and then PS4 and all that other stuff they were stretch goals,
right?
But then they like blasted past them like very quickly.
Like, it was fast.
And then I think as part of the rest of this Platinum Games announcement extravaganza is a thing they're hinting at called Project GG, which we don't know entirely about, but I think one of the hints that they dropped was like, they said Project GG is a go-go.
Yeah, Henshin a go-go. Let's go.
So, yeah, if you've played some of their other, well, I don't think Beautiful Joe is not a Platinum game, right?
Platinum. It's still under Clover, if I remember.
It was Clover, which eventually a lot of those guys went on to make Platinum. Yeah. But the catchphrase of that character is Henshin no Gogo, right?
Yeah. Beautiful Joe is good. 1 and 2. 1 better, but anyways, yeah.
Yeah, so now that they said like Project GG is a go-go, and like not a lot of people say that phrase, right? It's not a common
And they have a
Rephrase.
they have a trailer on the website as well.
Oh, I haven't seen the trailer. I know.
Oh yeah, the trailer. I mean, it's all CG, and it's like it's basically a kaijin game. Wait, did I get that right?
Okay.
Kaiju game, kaiju. So big monsters and kind of like the Ultraman kind of character growing big and kind of fighting them. And it actually says it's either in the trailer or on the website, but this is the last in the superhero trilogy from Hideki Kamiya, which of course is the director for
Beautiful Joe 1 and 2, right?
And 101. I believe he's also on 101. I'm not sure.
Oh yeah, well, I'm not sure if that is it in that series. Like, because I know Wonderful 101 is superhero, but
good question. I don't know if they're talking about trilogy, as in like if you count
Beautiful
Joe in 1 and 2, and then this would be like a third spiritual successor, or if they're talking about Beautiful Joe 101, and then this is like another
Something
hero
else.
type game, but the final one he's kind of thinking of. Who knows? Yeah. But I'm excited for it, and of course they've also started another studio here in Tokyo.
Like a new office. But do you know where it is physically?
It's. Let me go onto the internet and find out.
Yeah,
I believe it's. I want to say it's like. I feel like it's gonna be Shibuya, not Shibuya, but Shinjuku. I just have a feeling.
Yeah, a lot of game
if
studios are in Shinjuku. Who's in Shinjuku? Square Enix, Capcom.
Square, Capcom.
Konami is
I don't know if Marvelous is still there. Was it Marvelous that I went to one of them? But yeah, Roppongi has
Capcom.
Pokemon Company.
Konami, yeah.
Pokemon Company. Riot Games is in the big tower as well. What else is over there? There's got to be one more in that area, but it's pretty big. I'll find it maybe. I don't want to make too many clicky noises with my mousy mouse.
But yeah, okay, that's fine. It's in Tokyo somewhere.
It's in Tokyo somewhere. Maybe one day we'll walk to it, film outside, and say, "Hey, we're in front of Platinum Games
and
office."
then security will come and kick us out. Yeah,
they'll be like, "Oh God, I have another story, but I'm not going to tell you that. I have a whole list of game companies that I visited and knocked on the door of." And
you got kicked out of?
No. Some crazy things happened.
That's funny.
But yeah, so
you can save that. Yeah,
I'm going to save that. I am going to leave as much of all of this in the kind of the Japan life and kind of questions. It's a kind of long show, everyone, and I'm going to probably put something at the beginning of the show to kind of say that. But wow, I'm going to call this the end of the show because we have gone. We've gone over. We've gone.
Yeah,
over.
I've had a feeling those questions would take a while.
They were some deep. Like I said, there were some deep questions. But before we do go, I do want to give a shout out to one of my friends, Yahya. He is working on a VR game, and it's actually out on early access on Steam. It's called Monster Reapers VR. And right now it's only VR, but they are making a non-VR version of it. And it's just a fun game where you can go around, killing monsters, using spells, different environments. Like I said, he's a listener of the show, so I do want to give a shout out and huge thanks for his support as well. And I'll put a link in the show notes for that too. The coronavirus, if you are coming to Tokyo, a lot of stuff is shutting down for half of March or all of March. The Final Fantasy VII Skytree thing, that's shutting down.
Yeah, that sucks.
I can't go. I was like,
yeah, you're like, oh, I should go. You never got to go, but yeah,
I never got to go. It's gonna
at least just play the demo.
Yeah, it'll potentially reopen after the 15th GDC Game Developers Conference. Also, of course, postponed indefinitely right now. There's no date when it's coming back. Sony, Oculus, EA, PlayStation. I mean, like a lot of places just kind of decided not to come just due to the virus. So everyone stay safe and make sure you wash your hands. Number one thing. You can always check us out. We do stream. I stream on Wednesdays and Fridays here in Japan, 9 p.m. to 12 a.m. You can find me at NinjaTrix on Twitch, NinjaTrix, and that's part of UGP streams. So we hope that you'll come and join that. And as always, you can follow us on Twitter and Instagram at UGP_cast. And if you're looking on YouTube to see a couple food reviews, you can find us at Unknown Games Podcast. I think I got everything done other than go play the Final Fantasy VII demo. Alex, you got anything?
Go play the demo. Go play Chrono Cross.
Go. We don't have the song anymore.
Oh, well, yeah. Go play
We've got
Chrono
new
Cross
songs.
anyways. Yeah.
Go play Chrono Cross anyways. Enjoy what you do. Remember, you set the tone. Go play some games and enjoy life, everyone. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you again next week for episode number 25. Until then, enjoy the exit music. And yada! Yada.
Yare.
Just do it.
All right.
Peace.
Peace.